All right, let's get into it. Look, I really want to get into it and share some strategies that I'm using right now that hopefully will get you through now, but also set you up to win on the other side. Because I think the moment we start to understand, okay, right, where we are financially and how we're going to get through this, that's our biggest thing. But then our next thing we start to think about is, right, how are we going to grow our business back beyond? Like, forget just getting it where it was. We've got to go beyond that to recover from this time. And how do we do that quickly? I think what we're going to find is a lot of businesses are going to not do anything, get on the back foot and hit the wall because they can't recover quick enough. They've lost staff, they've done, they just haven't recovered. So how can we get on the front foot? How can we look after our customers now? How can we let them know we're still here for them? And how can we ready to really accelerate the whole system when the time's ready? So if you can pivot now, how can we get you some small wins now? But also, how can we get you to win on the other side? So let's get into it. Look, in order to do that, I really believe we've got to step back and look at where we were. Look at our business. Look at what made up our business, what made it tick, from the numbers to the how that we were doing certain things. Were you a small business owner with declining sales? Were you finding your margins were eroding and business was getting harder? Look, in today's environment, what you were doing 5 years ago is not working today, right? If you're finding it hard to get growth, are you affected by increased competition? So were you finding your sales are a bit slow? Business getting tougher and you're just getting affected by increased competition. Well, this is where you need to be. So let's get into it. Just get into the 5 business secrets that are going to get you them results. And I'm going to pull it apart and show you a real life example of what you can do and what is possible in your business. So what are we going to be covering? What can you do right now to bring some sales in? Right? A lot of businesses out there are pivoting. What can they do to keep some sales coming, to keep the doors open, just to get some cash flow happening? Right? How can we be proactive? I've seen many different examples of look, let's pivot, let's do home delivery, let's do mobile. Let's, look, don't get me wrong, there are some businesses, plenty of businesses out there that are hurting, that haven't been able to pivot, in regards to doing takeaway or whatever the case. But there's two sides of one is, can you pivot now? And the other is, what can you be doing now to be ready to really capture the lion's share of the business? How can you be looking after your customers right now and nurturing through social media or whatever the case, so you can keep them engaged with your business and you don't lose them. So then when you reopen, you're right to go. And what can you do right now to win at the other end? Because there's key things you can be doing. Once you know where you are financially through your accountant and whatnot, and financially how you're going to get through that, you've put certain steps in place. Now it's about, how can I set things up now in my business to win on the other side? Because what is your marketing plan to get sales quickly on the other side? Because it's not going to work. Like, I think you'd agree with me. It's not going to work just to basically reopen the doors and just hope it turns up. Because everyone's taken a massive hit here. So we have to hit the ground running. So what is your marketing plan to get sales quickly on the other side? Look, if you're with me so far, would you agree that you need a new plan to get through and win on the other side? Look, I think it's fair to say that this is a massive shake-up. There's going to be a lot of people that sort of hit the wall through this, and I don't want that for you. I want you to sort of write, what can you be doing this time when there is the downtime to prepare yourself to get ready? And that's what I want you to take away, some key things that you can do right now, but also setting up to win on the other side, because I think we're agreeing we need a different plan. Look, 30 seconds on me and why you should listen to me is the last 17, 18 years, I've really been battle testing all the simple things that I do in my business to get the sales and growth that I do. And these are just simple and low cost things that you can put in your business, things that have helped me achieve an extra $600,000 in the sale price how I made an extra $700,000 in one of the sites I sold. So there's simple things you can do, and that's what I'm going to be going through. So look, it's not about me. It's about me sharing the strategies to help you, because this session's all about you. How can we get you some quick wins? How can we get you to the other side and win? So 2 things you can do right now. So how can you create a loyalty system, a system to get your customers to come back time and time again? So if you're able to pivot, how can you create a system that you can give your customers a reason to keep coming back? I'll give you this one thing. Get all the names and phone numbers and put it in a spreadsheet. And there's text platforms out there where you can send a bulk text of 500. So even if you can't operate at the moment, you could get all your people in your database. And most businesses have a database, but most businesses don't do anything with it. So then you could get a spreadsheet, names on one side, phone numbers on the other, and the text platform's pretty simple to use. If I can do it, you can do it. You know, some of them we've got help desks and that, where you upload it, and for the sake of 6 cents a text, you can communicate with your customers. So you mightn't be able to pivot and open at the moment, but you can also be communicating. You can send them an offer. Look, want to let you know I'm here. Soon as we're back open, here's a special little gift. Now you've got their details. So when you do open, bang, here's a special offer that we can get you in. Now, but let's say you can pivot right now. So you could be communicating with your customers. What's an offer you could send out? You know, if you might be a mechanic, you know, or a florist. What's something you could send out now with the new sort of social distancing laws of how could you overcome that? Send out a special offer to bring in some sales. Simple strategy, but this thing is going to help you win on the other side, because, you know, the squeaky wheel gets the oil. Is that how it goes? I mean, I think you understand what I mean. When it comes to a loyalty system, is what system do you have in place to get people to come back time and time again, to give them an incentive to do business with you? I call it the one night stand. Most business owners I talk to, and when I work with my clients when we first start, they don't have any system in place. Every sale is like treating them like a one night stand. So a simple thing you can do right now is load the names, phone numbers, and communicate. You could be a builder. You could communicate and say, look, if you've got any emergency work, until there's a full shutdown, I'm here. I follow all the social distancing rules down. Right, we can make this work for any emergency work. Anything you want to get done that needs to be done now. You know, it could be a mobile mechanic that you've pivoted. You know, there is ways you can pivot. And if you're a business and you're in this downtime, let's use it to create a database. And stay with me to the end, and I can help you with some of this. So start working on how you can create a database. Stay with me to the end, and I'll explain how I can help you with it, right? If you're a bit sort of, well, where do I start? And ramp up your social media. You know, you want people to feel part of your community. And I've started to see this with some businesses. A lot of businesses know, but I've started to see it with the local hairdresser, and there was my electrician the other day. Starting to, you know, just keep it interesting and active, and putting up old photos of jobs they've done and testimonials they've got, and trying to create a bit of a keeping people interested. So there are 2 things you can do. Now, you might be sitting there going, well, that's not going to help me right now, but I can guarantee that if you build your database and get ready to communicate, right, and start communicating on social media about your business and what you do, and letting them know we're here, and you can put some fun stuff up and fun things for the kids. You know, keep it fun and interactive, but keep people engaged. You know, if you don't have a Facebook page or any social media at the moment, it might be time to start. And you know, could be, how can you pivot to look after the key workers right now? You know, so we've got to step back to go forward. But if you don't have a loyalty system, a reason and an incentive, in some of the businesses that I've had, we send out 3,000 and 4,000 texts a week, text messages with an incentive to come in. And what that does to the business is skyrockets the sales and the profits, because we're giving our customers an incentive to come back time and time again. These are the three P's you need for success in any business. And these are the three key areas that you need to look at now and into the future to make sure you're ready to take full advantage. Are you communicating with your people? Are you getting information from your accountant and really trying to be across it yourself and communicating that and involving your team to make sure that they've got all the access and know as much as they can know and have access to, whether it's your accountant's advice, whatever, but they feel, supported through this time. You haven't just dropped them, because at the end, when we need to ramp up, you're going to need some good people. And now there's certain incentives the government's brought in to make that happen. So I can't stress the importance, and this is even more so important when we go full ball again. You need the right people. So you have to nurture them through this. You have to be checking in on them. They have to feel supported. Now is a great time, right? Once you get, like, you can take a breath, now is the time to start to look at the presentation. And when I say the presentation, I mean the way that your business looks. So if you've got a bricks and mortar business, how does it look at the front? How does it look inside? How does it look when you greet customers, right? What could be different? Is the paint falling off? Is the signage pretty ordinary out the side? You might have work vehicles. How do they look? And you might say, well, I'm not going to spend any money right now. Yes, but you can look from all the touch points of how people, interact with you and where that could be better. Like how do your vehicles look? How is your sales process? And these are the key things we can be looking at. How does, like, I'll give you the example of, like, I was speaking to a mechanic client the other day and going through this process. And we talked about his workshop and how it looked. And we talked about how we're trying to get it to look like a franchised operation, or like one of the workshops at the dealership. We have to be looking how we can stand out and be different to our competition. In my retail businesses, I look to, in the service stations and different businesses I've had, you look to people that are doing it better. So how can we stand out and be better? How can we look to what can we fix and clean up and tidy up? What are them things you've been wanting to do that now presents the time? That let's get in and do it. Let's make it happen. It could be an extra coat of paint, could be some signs. Let's get some quotes. Let's get things happening so we can, explode things on the other side. And really understanding what makes your business tick, right? A lot of business owners I speak to is they don't really know what goes in to make the profit, from how many inquiries they get to what's their sales this week, what's their sales last month compared to last year, breaking their sales up into all the areas of the business that make their business tick. It's not just one number at the top of your P&L sales. There's a whole range of areas in your business that make up your sales, and we need to monitor each area then. So they're the 3 P's for success. I'm going to keep moving on. You need the right people. You need presentation, the way you present. And you might say, well, most of mine's done online. Well, when's the last time you went back and did a website audit and really pulled it apart of what's working and what's not? So your presentation has to be A1. All the business I take over, I'm looking for underperforming businesses where I can go and make them adjustments to the presentation and present a better product so I can charge a better price. And then really understanding your profit and what makes your profit tick. And how can you pivot right now? And if you're saying, Shane, I can't really pivot, my doors are shut, there's nothing I can do. Like there was a lot of, restaurants that just weren't ready, had to shut, there was no opportunity. But if they had a database, there might have been an opportunity to pivot and do takeaway. So how can you pivot right now? And if you can't, what can you be getting ready for what I'm about to go through, so you're ready to take it on when all this sort of starts to come back, because we need to get there very quickly, or we're going to burn on the other end. We're not going to make another 12 months after it because we haven't grown our sales back. So people, presentation, profit is where it's at to grow the successful business. Why should customers do business with you? So when it comes down to your presentation, why should they do business with you? What's different about you? Why do you stand out? Why do they need to come back? And what makes you different from your competition? It can't be, I give better service. So look at 3 or 4 competitors from a presentation point of view, and what makes them better? What makes them stand out? This is where the game's at. This is the time now to look at how can you differentiate yourself from the 2 or 3 other players that are your competitors. And I've got some ways that I'll show you about that. So I'm going to take you through now the 5 ways that I grow any business very quickly, because I want you to understand what can be done in your business. I'm going to give you an opportunity at the end of this. Stay with me to make this happen from your business. I'm just going to jump out for 2 seconds. Now, this is a busy spreadsheet, but I just want you to understand the concept. So this was a smaller business. This was a hairdressing business. I went through this process. And we sat down, and what we looked at, there's 5 ways to grow a business, right? And so therefore we looked at the annual number of leads they were roughly getting, from inquiries to walk-ins to the people out there, was about 1,200. They were converting about 60%. So that means that they had about 720 customers for the year. And as an average, the amount of times people were coming was 6 times a year. And the average transaction value, so the average dollar, when you add up all the invoices, the sales divided by the amount, the quantity, was $70. So they had annual revenues of $300,000 at about 65%, what we worked out margin, to give gross profits of about 196. So what I want you to understand now is, so what we've done is we sat down and we really pulled their business apart and said, well, how do you get business now? And they said, it's mainly word of mouth, and we've been going for 6, 7, 8, I think it was about 7 years. And they really started to understand that, right, when I come out of this, I've got to have more of a plan than just word of mouth. So we looked at some strategies on social media and some other referral strategies. And just by coming up with 2 strategies, the business owner was like, yeah, I can really easily see how we're going to increase our inquiries by 10%. So think about it from your business. Potentially, out of all the inquiries, the leads out there, if we came up with 1 or 2 strategies, and this is what you're going to have a different game plan. So in this business, just by 10%, then what we do is we look at the ways that we can convert better. So think about it in your business. You might do 10 quotes and you get 4 of them. Well, that's a 40% conversion. And what I find is, usually when I ask a business owner, what's your conversion? I don't know, it's pretty good. But when we monitor it, it's not always as good as they first thought. But the beauty of that is it becomes so much opportunity to grow the business. So then we looked at strategies to increase more of that business. So now you come down, we've had a small increase in number of leads. We've gotten better at converting them, right? When people ring up and wanted to ask some questions, we've got better scripts. Think about for your business. There'd be simple strategies that once you sat down and you looked at it, this is how you got to break your business up. of how can you convert better. And it's not just going to work with going there and giving a paper receipt or sending a bloody invoice in an email saying, here it is, let me know if you've got any questions. You need a new system to win on the other side. So when you go through that, 1320 is our new leads, because we've got some strategies in place. And now we're getting a 66% in conversion because we've improved some of our systems on the way we're going to convert. That's 871 customers. Now we come down here and the number of transactions. Well, in this business, basically we sat down, this little hairdressing business, and we sat down and said, well, what incentives, how often should someone come and get their hair? And they said, oh, well, every 6 weeks. I said, well, what do you do to try and encourage people to do that? Oh, nothing. They just, we might send them a reminder but not really much as a system. So we put in place 2 strategies to give people an incentive, because when people stretch it out to 8 or 9 weeks, we've missed out on that, which means we miss out on dollars at the end. In my businesses, in my retail businesses, we look at ways to get them back more often through text and special offers, because we want to continue for people to come back more often. So in this business, the owner was like, oh, okay, right. So we'll do the simple strategy. And in this case, there was 2 strategies, and she thought she could get well over 10% increase. So we're just going to get them to come 0.6% more per year as an average. So for your business, what would it be? And stay with me to the end, and I'm going to give you an opportunity where we can do this for your business, because this is the detail that you need to understand what's possible, where you are now, what's possible, and what plans can you put in place. And I want to show you how you can do this. But stay with me. So now we've looked at some strategies. The average transaction value was $70, right? Meant the average. So then we looked at some systems and some strategies we come up with 2, and about 5 or 6 we discussed, to increase that. You might call it an upsell. So we're going to increase the average transaction value by $7 as an average. Not a massive amount, but what I want you to understand is this is a compounding effect. And as you can see here, it flows down to a 46% turnover increase in turnover. We were at 302 and now we're at 442. And then what we do is we come down here, and now the last thing we do in any business is we adjust our profit margins and what we charge. And because we've built a better business, we've basically got a better way of bringing people in. We give them incentives to come back. We give them opportunities to buy more things and get more from the things we do, and let them know about that. And because we're now perceived as a much better business, we can adjust our pricing. And so just for this business, it was a 61% increase in the business. And what I want you to get you thinking about is the concept. There's 5 ways I can grow my business. And if you have the opportunity to put your numbers into this, to understand where you are now, where you need to go, and what strategies can you have on the other end, and how powerful that could be. And I didn't even get down to this bottom section and talking about how powerful it is to have a referral strategy in place for this business, because we just need to execute on this 61%. So what I want you to understand with this is that this is possible, and you need to plug your numbers in here of where you were before You know, so what is your leads? What is your conversion rate? And we can work on some of this. What was your number of customers? How often did they come? What was your average transaction? Where were you on revenue? What was your profit margins? And then your gross profits. So once you plug your numbers in and we start to dive down on some strategies to bring in more leads, when we get out of this, what is going to be your strategy to bring in more leads, bring in more new business? And it's one thing to bring in the new business, like get more quotes and inquiries coming, but we also want to have some strategies to convert them more. No good you're running around, you're doing 1,000 quotes and you're only getting 3 out of 10. So what's the strategy we can have in place to convert them more to end up with more customers? Then we need to look at ways that we can get them back more often. And I went through this process with a builder the other day, and he said, yeah, but if I do a job for someone, it's probably once a year, you know, extensions and bathrooms. Yes, but once we sit down and look at a strategy and, you know, so it could be a referral strategy. You know, what are you doing when you finish your job to giving your client an incentive to use you again? And most of the time it's nothing. I give them the final bill. Well, there's a system we can go through to give them an incentive to use you again, simply by just asking and giving them a special offer. You know, there's other services you probably offer that they don't even know about. And that's how we're going to get the transaction value up in your business. And just by doing those things, there was a 46% increase. So how powerful would that be to get in for your business? And then the last thing, once we build this profit growth system for you, the profit, bit of a mouthful, the profit accelerator system, then we get to work on your profit margins once we've worked on these other areas. So the thing that I want to do is I've taken you through the 5 ways. Hopefully I've left you thinking, what does all that mean for my business? And how can I understand what that means for my business and what can I do on the other side? So what I want you to do is I want you to click on the link that was on this page, up the top, down the bottom, and I want you to ask yourself those questions. We need to plug your numbers in. What would it be like plugging your numbers into that spreadsheet? And then going through some simple strategies that you can win on the other side. Because ask yourself, do you believe that you need a new plan on the other side of this to grow your business very quickly? I think we're all aware that if we come out of this, when we come out of this, we need a new plan. Just opening our doors again is not going to be enough. And what is your sales and marketing plan? And that's what I want to leave you with. So click the link. Let's connect. I can plug your numbers in and go through with some simple strategies of what you can do now to get through, but also to win on the other side. Whoever's the best prepared, got the battle plan ready, they're the ones that are going to win. They're going to potentially steal your customers. So click the link now. Hopefully we get to chat and connect in person, and I can plug your business in and help you get a profit growth plan today. Click the link.